Hey church, our Daily Hope devotional, I actually recorded for you in Athens, Greece, but it was pretty windy and the audio turned out bad, so I'm back to tell you what I said when I was standing on Mars Hill, the same place that our scripture comes from today. It is Acts chapter 17, beginning in verse 22, when Paul stood at the center of the Areopagus, which overlooks the city. It's like a shelf that overlooks the city, but is right below the Acropolis, which was built by the Greeks to honor some of their hundreds of Greek gods. So just imagine Paul's on this beautiful hill overlooking the city, but behind him is this magnificent temple, the Acropolis, the Parthenon, all built to acknowledge what they are, which is very religious and devout people. And Paul says that in the beginning of his message. And he also says, I was looking at the places, all the things of the objects that you worship. And I noticed I came upon an inscription that says, to an unknown God. So essentially, Paul's hitting on their culture about how they're already so wrapped up in worship and that they're already pretty open to the idea of an unknown God, a God that might have been overlooked. So Paul seizes that opportunity to introduce them to Christ. Paul masterfully adapts himself to the thinking of the Athenians, and he was educated in Greek literature and was known to quote a lot of Greek poems. And so the rest of this chapter is Paul connecting to the Greek culture and explaining Jesus to them. And we see at the end of this chapter that some sneered and mocked Paul as he got to the part about the resurrection, but some said that they would come back and talk to Paul again on this matter, and some right then and there believed and became followers of Christ. So all this to say, friends, this is where our daily hope comes from. God doesn't waste any of your talents or history, the things that you know and the things that you have been through, all your experiences, the highs, the lows, the pains of life. God is wanting to use that to connect you to people. As a young man, Paul probably had no idea why he was learning so much about Plato and Socrates, but the Lord knew it would be for this very instant so that Paul would be able to connect with the Greeks. Also, Paul delivered his message and wasn't deterred by the outcome. Some believed, some laughed in his face. You and I need to take comfort in the fact that we can boldly proclaim the gospel and stand on our own figurative Mars Hill as we tell people about Christ and understand that some people might reject it, but that's okay, and that's not our responsibility. Paul was responsible for bringing Christianity to Greece, and the Great Commission continues. We're a part of that same commission that Paul had. Go and tell the nations. There are people that still don't know the good news and the salvation that we have in our lives. And God, like I said, wants to use you and your unique wisdom and why you are the way you are and the unique things that you've experienced to bring hope to your neighbors. So be open to that. Be looking around, asking God, who am I to share the good news with? What have I been through? What do I know that I can uniquely connect with people and then use that as a foothold and a doorway to share Christ's love with others? It's part of our calling, friends. So buckle up. Let's do it. Just like Paul and the Athenians, you have a calling and a Mars Hill to stand on and tell people about Christ. Love you, church.